trying to prove you're trustworthy and in the process betraying someone else's trust completely. A man lets his girlfriend read his text messages to prove he's loyal. No flirting, no cheating, just innocent text between him and his female best friend. But there's something hidden in between those texts. Something his best friend never expected anyone else to see. Her childhood trauma. Her abuse story. A private moment she thought she was sharing with a friend she could trust. This video isn't about secrets. It's about boundaries and what we owe to people who trust us. Let me get to the impetus behind this video today. It's based on a true story. A woman reaches out on Reddit asking if she's overreacting to having her private messages shared by her best friend of all people. And he just happens to be her male best friend in real life. This sounds like it's about trust on the surface, but underneath is really about boundaries, privacy, and how sometimes when we're trying to do the right thing, we end up doing something very, very wrong instead. So here's the scenario. And tell me if it sounds like it's at all familiar to you. A grown man is in a relationship with a woman he really cares about. Things are mostly good, but there's a little friction in the mix. Nothing explosive, but it's enough to start creating some tension. His girlfriend is feeling uncomfortable about his friendship with another woman, and it happens to be his best friend. Now pause right there because I know where some of y'all minds might be going immediately. Oh, that's a red flag. A guy with a female bestie? Nah, that's always messy. But here's the thing. It's not always messy. Sometimes people really are just platonic friends. Close friends. Best friends even. No drama, no flirting, no emotional entanglement beyond one human being just caring for another. And in this case, that's exactly what it is. Two friends who've known each other for years, had been through ups and downs together, shared inside jokes, supported each other through breakups, family issues, life changes, all of it. A genuine long-term friendship. But still, his girlfriend is uncomfortable with the arrangements. But she starts wondering, and why y'all so close? Why are you on the phone with her so much? And yeah, those questions come from a place of insecurity, but insecurity is human. Let's face it. Be honest, we've all been there at one point in our life. So eventually the girlfriend brings it up to him. And the guy, in an effort to ease her mind, decides to do what a lot of people would probably consider the honorable thing to do. He says, hey, look, you can read the messages between me and her. We're just friends, and I ain't got nothing to hide. Now this man hands over his phone to his girlfriend, opens the chat thread, and lets her scroll through every word, every emoji, every late night venting session, every, hey, just checking in kind of message, all of it. And again, I know some people are probably thinking, wow, that's real transparency. That's how you prove you're being trustworthy. Well, put a pin in that thought, because here's where it gets complicated. Yes, the messages were innocent. There was no flirting. There was no suggestive language, not even any kind of hidden affection. Nothing inappropriate at all. But what was in those messages was something deeply personal and private. His best friend had confided in him about something from her past. Something painful and traumatizing. She opened up about being abused as a child. Something she shared not for comfort, not even for attention, but for connection, perhaps even for healing, because she trusted him enough to hold that part of her story safely, which up to this point he had done. But now, without her knowledge or her consent, somebody else has read it. All the intricate details, just as she shared it with her best friend. And look, this wasn't the girlfriend's fault. You go ahead and erase that concept from your brain. The girlfriend didn't know what she was about to read. She was just following the invitation he gave her. It doesn't matter if he was guilted into sharing it or not. My point is, that was never his story to share. It wasn't his trauma or his pain. It wasn't his burden to casually hand over to somebody just to make them feel more secure. This is the part I really want people to understand. Because in today's world, we've built this narrative that trust means total access. If you've got nothing to hide, give me your phone. If you're loyal, I should be able to read anything. Transparency equals trust. Honey, listen, that is not the full picture, and that is not trust. That's surveillance disguised as intimacy. I walk my pit bull every day on a leash. She's highly trained and well behaved, but do I even have to trust her not to run off? No. That's because I got her on a leash. It's my safeguard in case a squirrel comes running by, or a rabbit, or a beaver. Hey, listen, I live in a bucolic neighborhood, and you never know what kind of critter might come running in or out of the woods. What I'm getting at here is that trust is blind. Trust in a friendship's not supposed to work like a courtroom or a contract. It's not about constant verification, surveillance, or requiring someone to prove their loyalty or honesty every time doubt creeps in. It has to be blind. Not because we're naive, but because real trust is about believing in a person even when you don't have all the facts. But sometimes, in trying so hard to prove that we're trustworthy, we end up violating somebody else's trust. Think about it. That best friend chose to share something with him in confidence. She didn't send that message expecting it to be part of a trust exercise in somebody else's relationship. She thought she was speaking to one person in strict confidence. Someone she believed would protect her story, not use it, however unintentionally, as collateral in a relationship argument. And here's something else I want you to consider. The guy didn't mean any harm. I believe his heart was probably in the right place. He just wanted to be transparent. He wanted to ease the tension with his girlfriend, but in the process, he forgot that not every message we send is just about us. Sometimes they carry other people's information as well. And when you hand over that phone, you're not just revealing your words, you're revealing theirs too. So what should he have done? Well, honestly, he could have set a boundary. A firm but respectful one. He could have just said, look, I hear you. I know you feel uncomfortable. I don't want to talk through that with you. But I also need to protect the privacy of people who've trusted me with personal things. It's not because I'm hiding anything, but because I've established mutual trust in my friendship, and also because it's the right thing to do. And yeah, maybe that would have made his girlfriend feel even more suspicious. Maybe it would have created more conflict in the short term. But long term, that's how you build real trust. Not by offering up receipts or proof on demand. You do this by showing that you're a person of integrity, even when it's not convenient. Trust isn't about being willing to violate other people's boundaries. It's about knowing where yours are and standing by them. If you're in a relationship and your partner is demanding access to things that involve other people's pain, other people's trauma, other people's trust, that's not transparency anymore. That's coercion. It's borderline bullying, and that's a huge red flag. That's also the moment where you have to ask yourself, what am I really protecting here? My relationship or my integrity? You can be honest without being invasive. You can be loyal without being a vault that anyone can have the key to. And you can love someone while still saying sorry, but that part of my life isn't only mine to share. So, yeah, sometimes doing the right thing for your relationship can feel like the wrong thing for someone else. And you got to decide who you're going to be. The person who chooses peace at any cost, or the person who understands that boundaries are a part of love too. Because if your relationship demands that you betray someone else's trust to prove your own, it might not be as healthy as you think. And it's time to reevaluate the friendship. I think a lot of people don't fully understand the weight of this. When you confide in someone, whether it's through a phone call, a conversation, or a text, you're not just sending words, you're sending trust. You're saying, I feel safe enough to let you see this part of me. So when that message is handed over to someone else, regardless of who it is or why, it's not a small thing. And it's certainly not harmless. It's a breach, it's a betrayal, and it's a legitimate reason to sever ties with that person. And it doesn't matter if the message was dramatic or just ordinary. It doesn't matter if the other person meant well or had nothing to hide. What matters is that something sacred was shared with someone it was never intended for. Transparency in one direction should never come at the cost of somebody else's privacy. That's not honesty. That's exposure. And you know that. It's easy to say I just wanted to be transparent. But please don't ever do that crap at my expense. Did you know that Apple won't even release your iMessages? Not even if they're subpoenaed by the courts. They take privacy very seriously. And now you green bubble folks, you're on your own though. Sorry. At the end of the day, trust isn't about how much access you're willing to give. It's about how much respect you're willing to show. Especially for the people who've trusted you with parts of themselves. They don't share with just anybody. The guy might have thought he was doing the right thing, but doing the right thing for one person by betraying another, that's not the kind of trade-off we should be okay with. Not in love, not in friendship, not in life. And for the record, the female bestie did not overreact in this situation. She did exactly what she should have done, and that's walk away from a friend who violated her trust and re-traumatized her by exposing her secret, intentionally or not. Where there's no trust, there's no real friendship. So yeah, transparency is good, but not when it turns someone else's trauma into a trust-building exercise. So what 3 lessons did we learn today? Number 1, trust should never come at the cost of someone else's privacy. Proving you're loyal to one person doesn't mean you get to violate the trust of another. Respecting boundaries is a form of loyalty, especially when those boundaries protect someone else's vulnerable truth. Number 2, transparency in a relationship should be mutual, not invasive. If trust can only exist by opening someone else's private messages, that's not healthy transparency. That's control. Real trust is built through consistent behavior, not by exposing third-party conversations. And number 3, some things are shared with you, not with everyone who has access to you. If someone confides in you, they're trusting you, not your partner, not your friend, or anyone else in your circle. You don't get to redistribute someone else's pain just because your intentions are good. Confidentiality is a part of emotional maturity. So please take care of your people and protect the trust and information that they share with you, because some things aren't ours to share, not even in the name of love. So I want to hear from you now. What would you have done in this situation? Was the man right to hand over his phone? Should the girlfriend have even asked? Or is there a better way to build trust without crossing into someone else's territory? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit that little notification bell so you don't miss my next video. And hey, if this video made you pause and reflect, please share it with someone else. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.